Do you have a bunch of games that you barely play any of them? And if you do play them, does it only last a moment? Then this is the video for you. I have good news for you. It's not you. At least not only you. Times are bad, with big quotation marks around that word. Games are being lobbed at us from all sides. Every day, tons of them come out. Friends, news servers, social network algorithms, video essayists, and even stores themselves supply us with recommendations for games that we could or even should play, because as times change, so do the games that are currently in. And surely we wouldn't want to be out and behind the rest, would we? Moreover, thanks to emulation, game discounts and bundles, games are more accessible than ever before. Our attention naturally flies from meal to meal like at a buffet, but just like the space in our stomachs, our wallets only have a limited amount of cash for purchases, and our days only have a limited number of seconds to play. Despite this, or perhaps because of this, we have a burgeoning backlog of games that are often not even fun to play. The biggest games are usually made according to a template. RPG, an open world which upon closer inspection is not open at all, interchangeable missions which are even less open and are dime a dozen, collecting items just so that the open world has something in it. Playing games like these in particular becomes a list of tasks to be completed, and instead of looking forward to what else the game will bring, we look forward more to when we have everything behind us and can cross off the task and subsequently the entire game with the inscription finished. As mentioned before, with the increasing number of games and as games reach their 15 minutes of fame, we sometimes force ourselves to play because everyone else is playing the game too. Streamers are trying to get as many subscribers as possible, game servers, at least during the boom, are bursting at the seams, but often it's just playing out of obligation until another new, shiny game comes out. In a way, playing games becomes a second job. In some genres, literally, whether they are work simulators as such or games that lure us to play constantly with the proverbial carrot on a stick, for example, in the form of rewards for logging in, completing tasks every day. It is therefore no wonder that we sometimes gravitate towards secondary entertainment, where, for example, we have a game running on one screen and something else running on the other screen. At best, a TV show, at worst, a colorfully described, often video guide to the game, or one of the social networks if we don't already have it at hand on our mobile phone. And the architects of social networks know this. They use every available tool to keep us on their platform, often at the expense of playing. Film and series moguls are not far behind in this imaginary war for our attention and our time. They promote their flagships as much as they can and make the premiere a big event in the style of "drop everything and go watch it now!" In some cases, even several times a week. They are also aware of the possibility that the viewer can simultaneously watch another screen. As a result, we unfortunately have dialogues where the same information is repeated several times, so that even the least attentive viewer does not miss anything. But it was not always like this. It was not so long ago that we, at least the older ones among us, were happier in this regard. There were fewer games. However, people tried to squeeze as much fun out of the ones they had. But honestly, how many games did people actually finish back then? And how many just because there was nothing else to play? And it was not always our fault that we did not finish them. Games on home consoles were often adapted from arcade machines, where high difficulty was almost a requirement for the arcade to earn a good amount of money. Social networks either did not exist or were in their infancy. One could, for the most part, read the internet forums or view text guides, for example on game FAQs, accompanied by extremely creative ASCII images. Czech people might know Scorpion's Wind Cheater. There were much fewer options for distraction. You often learned about games either from gaming magazines, from television, where it was Game Page, another Czech example, or Cybernet, or from friends from whom you borrowed the game. TV shows also had a different format. Instead of drops, in the form of a whole season coming out in one day, and countless streaming services and channels, one had to make do with only a few, if I don't count the download options, to wait for new episodes. Fortunately, there were many of episodes and the seasons were not that far apart, so there was always something to look forward to. All of this is a nice, nostalgic sentiment, perhaps partly true, but were we really that happy? Maybe. But maybe it was just that at the time we were younger, had a lot of free time after we threw our backpack in the corner of our room after returning from school, and didn't have to worry about what to make for dinner, what chores need to be done, or what bills need to be paid. But you can't go back in time, so what can we do about it now? I browsed the internet and thought about it and came up with these 10 slowly, almost proven pieces of advice. Number 1. Play slowly. Gone are the days when we had to rush to the end of the game, whether on arcade machines or home consoles. It would be ideal if someone told this to people who still watch Netflix shows on high speed as well. You don't have to rush, you won't miss anything. On the contrary, if you run, you might not notice the details in the game. There's a nice phrase in English for this: stop and smell the roses. It's usually recommended to slow down like this. I suggest going even further and stopping right there, and maybe sitting down. By the way, when I write and read this, I'm sitting down, and you probably are too. Not every game allows this, being able to sit down, look around while the game world lives its life around us, and the only thing we hear are the sounds of the surroundings creating the atmosphere. If games could also transmit smells and temperatures, the illusion would be perfect. In my opinion, the closest thing to this was Life is Strange with its moments of zen, or Hollow Knight with its benches. And if I haven't convinced you and you still want to play fast, try the other extreme. Speedrunning is worth it. Number 2. Play only one game. Playing multiple games at once is great in theory because we do almost the same thing with TV shows. However, a problem arises when we jump from game to game with the vision of another breathtaking experience. We become addicts, slaves to the happiness hormone dopamine, and in this way we would condemn ourselves to eternally jumping from game to game because there will always be another different game, and no game is 100% dopamine rush from start to finish. So try to stick with one game, or at least one game from the same genre. For example, what worked for me was to play one big game with a deep story, complex controls, a diverse range of characters, and one or more smaller games. A simple or non-existent story, easy controls, the ability to start the game at any time, but also to stop it at any time. However, I definitely do not recommend choosing games and then getting stuck on them and forcing yourselves to finish them, whether purely in terms of story or in terms of achievement hunting. And absolutely do not blame yourself. There are plenty of other games and you can always return to them. Number 3. Play games from smaller developers. Publishers of AAA games are afraid to take risks. But thanks to them, the gaming scene looks like the way it does. If a game is not a remake, it is at least a copy of the competition, of which there are dozens on the market. This creates the deceptive impression that the games are boringly same-ish, full of features that are mostly there because every other game has them, instead of the visionary ones. Nonsense! It's good to look for games on the indie scene, but you need to be careful there as well. The indie scene is a big hit or miss because for every asset flip or RPG Maker game you may find a hidden treasure. Sometimes it's something completely original when you think, what kind of drugs is this person on? And sometimes it can be a game from your favorite genre, which the current AAA publishers have long since given up on. Number 4. Play games you've played before, including those from your youth. You never step into the same river twice, said Heracleitos. And it's not much different with games. Games change, but so do we. Maybe you'll find new things in those old games that you missed. Maybe you'll find that you relate to completely different characters. And maybe, just maybe, it will rekindle your love for gaming like it did back then. But be wary of remasters and remakes, because those are often a completely different game. There are plenty of newly released games and they will wait for you, often discounted and debugged. Number 5. Play without distractions. Put your phone away and turn off the ringtone. Wait, even if you may have to wait a while, until no one may ask you for something and until you have completed all your duties. Put on your headphones, turn off the lights at night, open the blackout curtains during the day, and immerse yourself in the virtual world. Your brain will definitely try to return to the real world, especially during the quiet game part. But try to resist it. You can do it. I believe in you. Number 6. Play a game from a genre that you don't always play. Most people become fed up of food eventually, especially if they don't eat any other food. And it's similar with games. We gravitate towards what we enjoy. We want to try all offshoots and varieties. However, we unknowingly ruin our impressions by constantly comparing and seeing all the tricks so often that they become commonplace. Try an unexplored genre. There are tons of free games these days, and some paid ones sometimes appear on Steam or the Epic Games Store. So it won't even cost you money if you buy just your genre. Number 7. Play a game with friends. 2 are better than 1. And even better with more people. Try a game that you can play with someone else, but be careful. Don't try competitive or ranked or any other mode. This is not about ELO, ranks, leagues, or anything like that. Moreover, this type of game can't really be interrupted if you have other urgent obligations. In short, no blood, no sweat, no tears, and sometimes no victory, just chaos and fun. And maybe the tears in the end too, from laughter. And if you don't have anyone, send me a message, we'll find a date and play together. Number 8. Don't stress yourself about a library full of games. Many of us have a bunch of games and don't know which one to pick first. But it doesn't matter. You don't go to a museum to run from one painting to the other in an attempt to see as much as possible as quickly as possible. Similarly, in real libraries, you don't usually cross off everything you've read in order to read everything. We're often too hard on ourselves. Finishing a game doesn't necessarily mean seeing the end credits. And until we finished everything, there's still something to look forward to. Number 9. Play without a goal. Planning is good. If we're going on a trip, it's good to know what awaits us, where we can find help in case of an emergency, or when we'll be back home. But it's strange that we sometimes do this with games too. We search the game's wiki page for the best way to play because, for example, we don't want to regret investing experience points in something that will be useless and impossible to get back. We study in the instructions so that we don't miss something, and damned be the fact that we can play the game again and discover those things naturally, or we look at the list of achievements to see if the game contains any unachievable ones. And when we're in the game, we spend a lot of time staring at the minimap, especially in the open world ones. Let's try playing without a goal for once, without a plan, without instructions on the second screen, and without revealed plot twists. We'll then have all the more joy from discovering these things ourselves. Number 10. Take a break from playing. The last, but certainly not the least, piece of advice is essentially the simplest. If playing no longer brings you joy, then take a break. Stop forcing yourself into it. Try a different hobby. Thanks to the internet, the possibilities are wide open. But keep in mind that the ideal hobby for this is one that does not involve screens. Or just try going outside. Do you have any tips of your own, or have I forgotten any? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, these tips, these words, this is not a fix-it-all. Some things cannot be solved with a few motivational sentences. In that case, it is the best time to seek professional help. But it is a good springboard to dive back into the pixely waters with worth and with love.